If you work from home and you have all of your tabs open right now, I don't know why one of those tabs is Amazon, right? Or I don't know why we're working from home and in the background, Amazon is a tab. You may have Target, and you're not even supposed to be at Target right now. You may have Macy's, you may have Gucci, but those tabs are open along with your work tab. So first of all,
close the browsers.
Close the browsers. Because that is a money leak.
Welcome back to Bloom, Build, Birth, the podcast where we explore what it really means for women to reclaim their wellness, their purpose, their pleasure, their sovereignty, and all the things that matter at this big age. After 35, everything changes. After 40, everything changes again. As we're hitting our 50s, more comes in with that. And so today's conversation is an important one. We cannot talk honestly about wellness without talking about what? Finance, money. You can't enjoy life if you have no access. Okay. So today we're going to talk about what it means to have peace and rest, freedom, joy, entrepreneurship, and all of that stuff, while also taking on the subject matter that a lot of women don't want to talk about, but we have to: financial wellness and financial literacy. Okay. So go ahead, get your little ducks in a row. We're going to dive into it today. And today I am joined by my girlfriend, my soror, my sister, Reshell. And listen, let me tell you, I love her because she keeps it so real. When she's going to tell you about your finances, she's going to tell you the good and the bad and the ugly, and what you're actually doing and how you can improve things by making important shifts in your thought. Reshell Smith is the founder and the CEO of AMES Financial Solutions. It's a virtual financial planning firm, and her real focus is women, especially divorcees who are looking to build wealth. So it's the perfect person, I think, to have on the show today. She's a certified financial planner with, I don't know how you have 25 years of experience, girl.
Update your bio. It's 30 now.
30.
And I started when I was 1, just so you know.
I was going to say, were you in the womb? You must have been in utero.
Yeah, we're going to say that. Yes, okay. Absolutely.
So 3 decades of experience, y'all. So we are going to get all of the good stuff from her today. Reshell, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. It's such a pleasure to be here. And I'm so happy that you have this platform. You know, I love all your platforms. I'm always teasing you about the things you say and how you say it and how you do it. I think it's so relatable. And I'm happy that you invited me.
Yes, it was a pleasure. And, you know, let me tell you, I've heard you now that I've known you for a few years and I've seen you speak a number of times. I'm going to start with this story because the story always touches me. I'm a grandma's girl. Okay. Mm-hmm. I'm a grandmother girl. And so when you talk about your grandmother and how you named your business after them, and the story that I love too, about how your one grandmother created her own pathway to a budget. Can you talk about that with our listeners? Because I think it's important that they hear that story.
Yes. And it's so, you know, the fact that you're bringing this up today, this actually is my LinkedIn post. It's about her today that I posted.
Oh, wow.
She's Elizabeth. And so I tell people that I am just 3 generations away from illiteracy. She was my grandmother, my mom on my mom's side, so maternal. And I came early, right? So I had a teenage mom. And so I met my great grandmother, and she didn't pass away until I was a full grown adult. Wow. So I experienced all of her. Mm-hmm. And what I didn't realize until my teenage years was that she could not read and write fluently, right? So she always was at the window with her Bible. So I didn't realize that the cards that we sent her and the letters that we sent her, that she wasn't able to read those. Like somebody read them to her, or she looked at them and maybe she could figure out some things, but she wasn't fluent.
Yeah.
And so when it came to money, her Social Security check, she always signed with an X. She signed her name with an X. And then when she got her money, she separated her bills. So she would have this big purse, and then she would have a smaller purse where she put like the big dollars. And of course, you know, grandmas, they're going to have that little coin, that little change purse.
Right here.
So
Right here.
yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Right there. So she had that. And then, of course, she had a little wallet for her smaller bills. And so that's how she kept track of when she was handing out money and what came from what pocket. So in my mind, that's a budget, right? That is a budget. That is a system. She knew where her big bills were, her little bills, and then the little change that she gave to us to run to the corner store or to get candy or whatever, that came out of the little coin purse. And so to me, that was a budget, that was a system, and it worked for her. And obviously it worked for us.
Yeah, I love that story so much, because what it makes me think of is how no matter what, you have the power and the autonomy to create a system that works for you.
Right.
And so as so many of us are dealing with financial challenges, whether it's because of a job loss, right? We know that hundreds of thousands of Black women in particular have been impacted by job loss in the last couple of years, right?
Yes.
We know that in general, this economy is down for many of us. And so budgets are tight, belts are tightening all the time. But we also know that we are still ladies, and we are still trying to be cute, and we're still trying to also enjoy our life. And, you know, the fourth pillar of Her Hive Collective is to prioritize your pleasure. Reshell, how do we do that in today's day and age?
Yes. And let me make a point here on the finance side and then talk about how we still take care of ourselves and be cute and do the things that we want to do. So a lot of the conversation today, as we are on this podcast today, is of course about the economy, how many Black women have lost their jobs, how many companies are laying off. And what we keep hearing is, but the stock market is up. And that's beautiful. But everybody's not in the stock market. The stock market isn't the entire economy, right? So gas prices are up, food is up, we're paying higher premiums for healthcare. And so those are the things that are important to the middle class. We may have 401ks, we may have our foot or our toes in the water when it comes to the stock market, but it's not all about the stock market, right? So for us who are seeing things go up, seeing our cash reserves and our savings dwindling faster than we want. Even people who are retired are saying, wait a minute, we retired, but we didn't expect
we didn't plan for this.
Exactly. Right. And so we're still searching for ways to look cute, to do the things that we want to do, to feel good about ourselves, right? Because a lot of us want to show up looking well. We want to look good. We want to smell good. We want to dress good, and we want to have experiences. I heard someone say that self-care and wellness is not a bonus. It's not a reward. It's something that you should be doing for yourself. And so I would say in this season, we have to prioritize those things and figure out what they look like. So I don't want you to not get your facial or your massage or your nails done. I just want you to do it differently.
Yes.
So it doesn't mean you can't get it done. It means do it differently. So maybe in this season, we have to do a Groupon massage. And listen, some of those are pretty good.
I've been doing that for years. So
some of those are pretty good. You may not be able to keep the subscription massage and do it the way that you do it, but don't not do it. We may have to do our nails a different way. And I know we've kind of talked about this a little bit. Maybe we can't go on and to the shop and get a design and all of those things, but there are new ways to have beautiful nails that we can consider. And so what I don't want us to do in this time is to put ourselves on the back burner. Because I work with women, I know for a fact that gray divorce divorce after 50 is on an incline, an increase. And it's not simply because of the men. It's because women are like, listen, I've been a wife, I've been a mom, I've been all these things, and I've lost myself.
Yes.
And I don't want us to do that, right? So if you're in a great relationship or you have something good going, don't put yourself on the back burner and then get burnt out. And then you have to check out of the whole relationship.
I think that's a really important point. All of that is important, Reshell, like all of it. I think number one is keeping a sort of realistic perspective on what's happening, right? We cannot continue, most of us at least. Some of y'all who don't feel any of this, bless you. And I hope that continues for you. But for many of us, we do feel the pinch. We do feel the need to change how we do things. Before the show, y'all, I was doing my press-on nails right before. And Reshell said, so was she. Listen, I am no longer, okay? I am no longer willing or frankly able to spend $150 at the nail salon. Not when gas is high, not when I have a child, not when I'm building a business. And so I would love to know, are there any tips and tricks in terms of how should we kind of finagle? Should our investments change? I know you can't give us advice, right? I can't tell us what to do with our money right now in this setting, but what would you recommend that we start to pull back on and kind of update in our mindset, really, more than anything, when we think about money? Because we don't want to have a mindset of scarcity and lack, and to your point, not take care of ourselves, because some of us still got to show up for those job interviews, right? You still got to show up as a brand for your personal branding and business. We still have to show up. So what are some tips and tricks that you recommend that we consider?
So there are so many. And I would say that you have to give yourself a reality check. Yeah. So when we had it. Like when we had the great job and the 6 figures, 7 figures, whatever it was for some people that got laid off, you had it. You didn't have to check yourself. You didn't have to check what you spend your money on. And so what I would suggest is that you give yourself a reality check, like really, really look at what you are spending money on. Because by the time people come to me and I look at those statements and I'm looking at those accounts, I'm like, girl, listen, girl, what do you mean you don't have money?
We're not going to talk about anybody's personal business.
No.
But overall, when you see an average 48, 58, whatever, heading to a great divorce or married, whatever, single woman, when you see her accounts, her statements, where are the areas where you want to pull out the belt, pull out the ruler, and kind of say, girl, put your hand out?
I'm going to tell you, the money leaks. If you work from home and you have all of your tabs open right now, I don't know why one of those tabs is Amazon, right? Or I don't know why we're working from home and in the background, Amazon is a tab. You may have Target, and you're not even supposed to be at Target right now. You may have Macy's, you may have Gucci, but those tabs are open along with your work tab. So first of all,
close the browsers.
Because that is a money leak. So for us, we're trying to make sure our families are taken care of. Yeah. We're trying to save time. And so for us, that means, how do I feed my family? Mm-hmm. If I'm ripping and running all day and I'm making sure everybody goes to practice and dance class and all that, listen, I didn't take the chicken out. It's frozen. Right. So we're going to go through this drive-through. Mm-hmm. Or it's Friday and you're like, you know what? I've had a long week. I deserve to eat out. And I'm not mad at that. Mm-hmm. But at what cost?
Yes.
So a lot of the money leaks come from discretionary stuff, and discretionary means you have discretion. You can tell your money what it should be doing. So the money leaks that I see is, it may be, your electric bill, your mortgage, your rent, Amazon, water, Amazon, it's just down the line. Afterpay, Klarna, whatever it is that is your thing. And so that's where the money leaks come in. It's food, dining out is a big budget buster.
Yes.
Just going to get essentials and you get more than the essentials. So those are really where the money leaks come from. I'll say something that we have to have our AC, especially here in Florida. And I know people are worldwide on your podcast, but in Florida, if your AC goes down, you're gonna get it fixed.
Yeah.
So my AC guy came over about 2 weeks and he was like, "Why is your AC so low?" Well, sir, I'm in menopause. It needs to be low. He said, "No, if you're gonna work from home, it needs to be up a degree or two higher.
Yeah.
Go get you a real nice fan.
Right.
And at night you can cut it down lower." And I'm like, as a financial planner, I don't want to hear that. But he said, or you can just wait for that bill in June and July. And I already know what it looks like in June and July. I don't want that. So there are different things that we can do, even with the things that we absolutely need.
Yeah. Now, do you find, especially working with women so closely on such a personal, intimate topic,
yeah,
do you find that women struggle to even have these conversations? You know, is it like pulling teeth, or for your clients, are they kind of used to it? What's the difference in like the gap that you see that women have between themselves and money?
I know when I'm going to have a great client experience, because when they come to me and they've signed the agreement and they pay that invoice and we have our first consultation and I see the tears, then I know it's going to be good, because this person has avoided, this person is stressed, this person has never been comfortable telling the truth about their money. And so I know when someone comes to me and says, "Listen, I'm fed up. I, work hard. I know I have a good salary. I don't know where it's going."
Yes.
I know that's going to be a good client experience. That person is going to take my advice and actually implement it.
I love that. And I think it's the difference between knowing something and actually applying something, right? Like I talk a lot about, we can know something, we can know how to do our jobs, we can be educated, we can have advanced degrees even, but the ability to have that level of discipline that you take in your relationships as a parent, as a sister and a friend, that discipline seems to be more difficult when we apply it to finances. Why do you think that is?
Yeah. So let me give you this stat, Nicci. I just talked about this on WESH, that 59, I think it's maybe between 59 and 62% of Americans say that their number one source of anxiety is money. And so for Mental Health Awareness Month, I'm like, I probably should be out there, because that is people's number one anxiety. Now, at this current time, it actually ties with current events, which makes sense.
Right. But it's one of the same these days.
Yes. It's the anxiety of it all. It's the sheer anxiety that people have around money. And so you're going to do one or two things. You're either going to avoid, and you're just not going to talk about it and just keep going down the hole. You're going to find someone, like you find a doctor, like you find a lawyer, like you find anybody else to support you. You're going to get help. Or you're going to figure it out, right? And figure it out can take a long time.
When you work with women, are there any particular habits that you see consistently? Like at this point, after allegedly 30 years, y'all, she's not older than we're going to let her say 30. If you have all of this experience that you have, I know you see trends. I know you see a through line. What are some trends that you see with women that are good habits that help them build freedom and stability with their finances?
Women who are very intentional are almost like my favorites, right? So because and I hate to say this, but I'm going to say this. Single women sometimes do good, because it's that thing that, listen, I'm not in a relationship. I'm out here minding my business. My skin is clear. I'm taking care of my body. I'm going to the gym. Now here you come in love bombing me and getting me off track. Now I'm in debt. and all of this stuff, right? So I'm not calling anybody out there. I'm just saying a woman who stays focused and intentional, even in a relationship, is such a great habit. But they get us off track. And no shade to the men. We just be loving y'all so hard and trying to make you happy and do things that we get off track. So a woman who is intentional and can stay on track, number one. Also, good money habits are what I would say with women are those who live below their means. So just because you get a raise or you get a better job doesn't mean you need to spend more.
Yeah.
And almost the opposite of that is if you're not making enough, you're like, okay, I'm going to give myself a raise. So I'm going to leave this job that doesn't serve me, and I'm going to find the next job or even my own business to give my own self a raise instead of us sitting there waiting for people to help us with the income side of the equation. Like, am I going to get a raise this January, or am I going to stay here? Pensions aren't prevalent anymore. Loyalty to a job isn't as important, I would say, as it was in the past. So women who take charge of their own finances and create their own paths are the ones that have greater success.
Yes, that makes a lot of sense to me. And I think kind of the byproduct and one of the outcomes with this financial crisis that we're all experiencing together is that sense of, well, I'm going to do it myself, or I'm going to go ahead and use this severance or this time, or haven't been able to find a new job. So let me go ahead and go into the business. I often think about how I feel like as women in particular, we do start to have to think about things like a new microeconomy, like thinking about like, what is the new way that we do business together? What is the new way that we barter? What is the new system? Because the current system is not really working for us right now. Have you given that some thought in terms of this new way of working together?
I am seriously thinking about different ways to collaborate. Yeah. I think collaboration is what's going to help us move forward. I'm not saying that we have to put our businesses together. I'm not saying that we have to, come and start our own companies together, but collaborating with other women. So if you're good at marketing and I can give you a great retirement plan or something, like, what's the trade-off for me to help you and you to help me? So collaborating and bartering and finding ways to lift a sister up. I think that is going to be our way. If we go back to COVID, even though this isn't COVID, for some people, it feels like COVID because the job is not there. We may be at home. Although it's not a virus that we're concerned about, it still can be the same mindset. And remember, a lot of businesses showed up and came out of COVID. As a result of COVID, people started their own businesses. They did a lot of things online. And I think this is the opportunity to do that. We have to lean into we have to lean into AI. We have to lean into each other. We have to collab. So I think it's a great opportunity for people who have lost their jobs and are looking for a way to bring in that income. Collaboration.
Yes, I could not agree more. I think about that all the time. Again, thinking of it as like almost like a microeconomy is how I think about it. How are we creating opportunities with each other, for each other, that are sustainable? Not only like a pat on the back either, like an exchange of resources, an exchange of information that can give you more resources, I think is really important.
I'll say a great conversation that you and I had. It wasn't a conversation. It was a quick text where you sent me something on that you saw on TikTok. And I like the girl, and she does great, have great financial conversations. And so what I was saying was, I would love to kind of talk more like that, but I can't, because of my license, because of my designations, there's certain things that I can't say. But what I can do is I can tell our nonprofit about it. And maybe there's some things that we can do there. And so by us just having that conversation and then me going that one other step to say, hey, well, this is something that we can do. We have created a collective. We've created something that we can help other women with. And so those are the types of things where you have this little micro conversation that can end up being a macro platform, or there can be a macro result from that.
That have real impact, right? Those things have real impact. That's why I think it's important too, to have a conversation. You know, we talked about sort of the hesitation that so many women feel about talking about money. What is that rooted in? And what are some common trauma? Because I do believe that trauma and purpose are tied together sometimes. And so, even your work that you're doing, there probably is like a little trauma story somewhere in there, right? Same for me. There's trauma story and why I do and show up the way that I do. What are some trauma stories that you see in women that maybe we don't even see in ourselves, but we really have, to your point about the tears, right? The honesty that comes with those tears. What are some typical stories and wounds that you see so we can start to really address them?
You have to go back to childhood. So I always say, I feel that the way people handle money today as adults, a lot of it comes from childhood. Like, how did you learn about money? So remember, I talk about my grandmothers and some stories that I remember those stories, right? At my big age and how far back that was, I remember those stories. Those stuck with me. Think about people that live, let's just use this as an example, who live in a community, a low income community. And think about there being a grandma, a great grandma, you know, everybody's still staying there instead of getting out, because it's what the environment that you are in, it's learned behavior. And that can be financial trauma until somebody finally says, you know what? This isn't right for us. We need to level up, or we need to get outside of this block, or whatever it is. So a lot of it is how you were raised. I think about people now that are very wealthy and they won't let loose. They're like, I'm going to run out of money, or I don't have enough money. And I'm looking and I'm like, you can go buy a shirt, you know, or you can go do this. They hoard money. And that is because they didn't have it growing up. They have no desire to ever go back. And so they hoard money. And so a lot of times it can be, again, how you grew up. Maybe you grew up in poverty, and so now you hoard money, or maybe you grew up in poverty and you're like, YOLO, I'm doing everything I was never able to do, right? So it's how you grew up, and then it's your mindset once you get assets that you can actually use.
That all makes sense to me. I think the lived experience of it is important. And I think you got to be honest with yourself about what that lived experience is and how it's showing up. For those of us who do want to, you know, have a more expansive life, right? Want to create a life that feels more expansive. We don't want to live in that trauma. So, you know, a lot of my listeners, a lot of people who are in my communities are Black women. And so I know for myself, I absolutely grew up with some financial trauma. I remember my mom not having a lot, right? I remember, you know, people in my life not having a lot. My grandmother making do, somehow feeding half the church. After church, you know, like, I don't know where this food is coming from.
Right.
But somehow she's making the fishes and loaves appear, honey.
Yes.
So we know how to do a lot with a little. What are some tips that you want to give to women who are listening to create a life that feels expansive, even while being a good steward with what you have and the money that you do have?
Oh my gosh, that is so good. And it is an individual thing, but I will say this. I was listening to a different podcast where they talked about regret. And I don't want any of us to live in such a thought of lack that we can't enjoy life, that we can't have expansive experiences. So maybe this year it's not Thailand where everybody's going,
Right.
But maybe this year it's somewhere inside of the United States that doesn't cost you as much, but it gives you an experience. Because once you have one experience, you're going to want to continue going broader and broader and broader. So start with your mindset, because that's what it all comes back to, your how you think of yourself. What do you think you're worth? Like, what experience do you think you should enjoy? And it's not sitting at home in a rocking chair, Netflix and chill. Although I love that,
Right.
that should not be your experience, right? So the first thing is your mindset. The second thing is being intentional about how you manage your money. I'm not saying be constricted, confined, and all of those things. When you manage your money, you're just telling your money where to go. That's all you're doing. You're just telling it where to go. It's either going to go on lashes or rent or mortgage or nails or whatever. You're just telling your money where to go. And so if you want to have more experiences and more joy, and you want your kids to have more than what you had, then you just have to be very intentional about telling your money where to go. Now, a majority of my clients are Black women. Majority of my clients do well. Like, a lot of them do well. Some of them are doing well, but their credit card is a car note, right? And so I'm like, well, you want a new car? This is your car note right here. So we just got to kind of get this under control. But I think that we have the opportunity in where we are now, in the things that you do, Nicci, with your platform and telling women to prioritize themselves. I think if you have that mindset, you will do more things that bring you joy, right? I sometimes, if I don't have appointments early in the morning and I want to go get a coffee and go to Costco, like, that is great joy for me. I don't have to buy anything, but this is a morning where it's not rough. I'm not thugging and hustling and all those things. That gives me joy. But on the weekend, if I want to get on Brightline and go to Miami and have lunch, I should be able to do that. I worked hard. I should be able to do that. But that is because I have told my money where to go.
Yeah. You know your priorities, right?
Yes.
And I think that's the key part. I love that you said that. It's not, because I think we think of financial planning or as a budgeting as like a negative. It feels like a chore, right? It feels like punishment is what it feels like. But I think that reframe of it simply telling your money where to go is so important. And I think I would be doing the ladies who are listening to us right now a disservice if we didn't kind of throw in the topic that we all got to think about. We're not going to always be here forever. You talked about legacy. You talked about telling your money where to go. This is something that I absolutely have on my to-do list, right? I got the life insurance.
Yes.
Didn't have that. But I also know I need to figure out, what is this will trust situation that I got to figure out with my house, with my daughter as my beneficiary, with my life insurance. Tell us, I know you can't tell us everything in this little short window of time, but what is some information that we should be looking toward to figure out what to do with our money and where it's going after we're not here anymore?
I love this question, and I love to answer it. So there's two things I want you to keep in mind. And the first thing is 80% of women die single. I keep saying that, and I'm going to die on that hill, I guess. 80% of women die single, which means statistically, men typically pass away before women, or whatever relationship you're in, whether y'all are married or not married. So you have to plan like that. You have to plan like you are the second to die. And when it comes to wills and trusts, I'll go into this a little bit, but I want you to, we're just going to say this together, Nicci.
Okay.
A will is better than nothing. A trust is better than a will. A will is better than nothing. A trust is better than will.
Yes.
In general. So that's the general rule, because nothing means you die intestate, which means if there's arguments and things like that, the judge gets to take care of it. And depending on what state you're in, you may not like that. You may not entrust your minor children to even your baby daddy.
Right.
Sometimes you don't like that, right? You may want a different setup, but that has to be in writing. And my thing is, if it ain't in writing, it ain't real.
Yes.
And so nothing is not good. A will at least tells us what your desires are.
Mm-hmm.
And we can give that to the courts, and the courts can look for ways to enforce that because that's what you wanted.
Mm-hmm.
However, it can still be contested. So if there's some creditors or people out there, if you're a man and there's a person that says, I'm your child, sometimes you got to figure that out. Remember Prince. We had Prince who had to figure all that out before anything could go to, I think, his sister. So a will is good, but a trust is solid, right? So not everybody needs a trust. I'm not saying that, but if you need a trust, it is solid. Creditors can't come in. The judge doesn't go to probate. What that trust document says, it is what it is. And again, not everybody needs a trust because you may not have assets. You may not have many children. There are things that you may not need, but a will is better than nothing. A trust is better than a will. And those are just documents. It's just a will is just a document. A trust is just a document. And it spills out line for line what you want to happen with your children, with your assets. No one can contest it.
Okay. Y'all heard it here. You heard it. We have to remember that a will is better than what?
Nothing.
And a trust
is better than a will. That's the general rule. If you're trying to decide which way to go, that's the general rule. And when you go to an attorney, an estate planning attorney, they're going to go through all those things with you. They're going to say, okay, Nicci, if you happen to pass away early, what does baby girl do? Does she have assets? And they're going to say, hey, you have this, $1 million, $500,000 policy, and your son is 5. Nobody's going to want to give your 5-year-old $1 million. So in your trust, you're outlining how that money should be dispersed, who the guardian should be. It's very detailed. And so that's what a trust is going to give you that other things may not.
Yes. Thank you for that. Because that's something that I think a lot of the people who I know personally, and myself included, I have to take that leap into the trust, into that more locked down sort of mandate and orders for what happens when I'm not here anymore. So thank you for that. And it's not an easy conversation, but we have to have it.
It's not an easy conversation because you're talking about, passing away. But here's the other thing that is not a will, it's not a trust, but for us girls, when you start building assets and you have your business and you're on your second marriage, third marriage, whatever it may be, listen, I do not want you to shy away from having something in advance to protect yourself, right? So I know we talk about celebrities and all of those people who protect themselves going into a marriage and a relationship. It's not just for them. It's for us too.
That's so important. We can have a whole other show.
Prenups are not just for celebrities. They are for us as well.
Prenups, postnups, all nups.
All the nups.
We're going to have you back to talk about that because that's
absolutely.
I want to go into the hot seat questions, girl. You have been amazing. I want to take a few hot seat questions and you can answer as short or as long as you like, but I want your honest. These are like from the hip questions. Okay. What is one thing you think women should spend more money on?
Themselves. Because I don't think we spend enough on ourselves. And I'm not talking about shoes and clothes and those things. I'm talking about, I heard a man say how much he spends every year to make sure his body is good, right? So I'm talking about health. If you need the supplements, don't delay the supplements. If you need to go get something checked out, go get it checked out. When I say on yourself, I mean on your physical and mental well-being.
Yes. The number one pillar of Her Hive Collective is build out your personal board of health directors. And I tell ladies, even if you're having financial challenges, Find somebody who's on a sliding scale. Find someone who's doing it at a reduced rate. There's options out here, but you cannot slack and be cheap with yourself, like your literal, physical, emotional,
Nope.
psychological self.
Nope. Because when you're burnt out and you're done, it's like, I think a lot of us have this attitude of, if I don't do it, it's going to blow up. And everything is going to fall apart. And we believe that. And you know what? A lot of stuff is probably going to fall apart. But how many women have burnt out or even passed away and it worked out?
Yes, exactly. And these companies certainly figure out a way to keep
it
going.
Worked out. It worked out.
They figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah.
What are some things that scream quiet wealth or luxury to you?
You know, I think I did talked about this at some point before. Yes. It's not loud. You know, quiet luxury it's not always the name brand. It is smelling good. It is a scent. And it doesn't have to be an expensive scent. It can be something that you know that people will love. I have to get my package from you because I know there's a vanilla scent on there that everybody is loving. And to me, that is quiet luxury, right? I feel like there are things that just because they don't cost a lot of money, I can go to a shop here downtown and have lunch. And if I have the croissant the way that I like my croissant, it's a little extra. To me, that is quiet. That is quiet luxury. And, you know, going on a yacht with your friends, planning that out, it doesn't have to be every year, but it's an experience. That, in my opinion, again, quiet luxury.
Yeah. What's a financial mistake that you made personally that taught you something that to this day sticks with you? And maybe it was in your younger years, but like it taught you a big lesson that
I have too many. I have too many, Nicci. I have too many. But I'll say one for sure. So when I was in corporate as a financial planner, we always got a bonus. Like every quarter, if the company did well, we got a bonus. And so what I did, you know, I'm just speaking for myself because I'm not the only one, but what I did in the early years is I would be like, oh, that bonus, it's a bonus. Instead of taking that money and making it work for me, I spent it. I went to Fort Lauderdale, Sawgrass Mall. I took trips. I did stupid stuff. I don't even know what I bought. But it was because I had this bonus that I enjoyed it, but it wasn't, in the end, it didn't do anything for me. It just filled a void because I was buying stuff. And so the endorphins were going and, you know, my 50th pair of black shoes or whatever it was. I think that was like a big mistake for me because I could be further along financially had I put a lot of that money aside. So that's one of the things. Like I said, I have many, but that's one of the bigger ones.
Well, I appreciate the transparency. You know, I personally would never want to work with a financial planner who has never been there, right? There's something to be said about the lived experience that you've had that speaks to how you can advise women today because you have the lived experience. You're not just talking about from a textbook.
Yes. I tell people when they come here, listen, if you cry, you cry. If you got to tell me the whole picture because what the result of what I give you is only as good as what you give me. Right. And so this is the no judgment zone over here because probably the same mistakes that you've made, I've made as well. And again, when I talk about, you know, the relationships and the love bombing and the spending money wrong, I'm talking about me. When I speak about divorcees and doing it right and doing it wrong, I'm talking about me first. And so I want you to do better.
Yes. And that's the whole point. I tell people all the time, if the women in my circle are making the same exact mistakes I made, I'm doing it wrong. Because the whole point is to share what you can, when you can, if you feel safe enough to share, which I typically do, so that other people don't make the same mistakes. Like make your own mistakes, girl, right?
Yes.
Make your own
Yes.
mistakes, but don't make mine because I've already made them for us.
I made them for us, right? We already did it for us. You don't have to go there. Like, you can avoid this. This one thing that I know for sure that's totally off topic is I don't think I'm ever going to date a narcissist. And because my friends, like close friends, we've done that 2 or 3 times. I have been lucky that I haven't done it. And I just know I'm not going there, right? So to me, that is community, that's sharing, that's
right. 0 out of 10. Do not recommend.
0 out of 10.
I'll tell you what, they're very expensive. Like, talk about a luxury that you cannot afford. I'm not going to say it's a luxury. It is very expensive. And that, again, is to me a very good topic on the price, the literal price of dating someone who is exhibiting, because we're not diagnosing nobody. Nope. We're not clinicians.
Nope.
But if someone is exhibiting those kinds of characteristics, it is very costly.
Yeah. I know them now because of my circle. I know them now. And again, this podcast that I listened to about regret, they said narcissists don't have regrets. And I thought, oh yeah. So that, again, stick a fork in me. I want to stay away from them.
Last question. I love this conversation. I can talk to you all day, girl. Okay. If you could tell a woman who's listening, let's say she's only listened to the last 5 minutes of this show, what are the 3 financial wellness tips or tricks or habits that you would want a woman to take with her, allow her to be better prepared for retirement, and generally have a legacy and have the life that she wants and deserves?
Oh my gosh, this is so good. So number 1, if you are in corporate and they have a retirement account, you have to be putting money there. Especially if they match, even more importantly, if they match, right? Because the majority of Americans, their net worth comes from their retirement accounts and the equity in their home. Like that's where the majority of people's net worth comes from. So that is like the number 1 thing you have to be doing. Now, if you're not in corporate, you need a middleman, a middle girl like myself to help you put that money away. So that's number 1. Number 2 is tricky, but it's something that I wish I would have done. So I wish that I would have invested in real estate earlier in life, because I think that different from the stock market, different from other ways that you can build income. It is a way to build equity. And a guy told me that all dirt is good dirt, meaning if there's land out there that you can buy, buy it. We're not saying buy swamp land, but if there are opportunities, but if there are opportunities out there in your neighborhood or somewhere on the corner where there is an acre, a half an acre, whatever, who knows? Wawa might come and buy you out one day, right? So invest as much as you can, as early as you can, and keep real estate in there. And then the third thing I would say is take risk. Like, you got to get off of the sidelines. You cannot stay on the sidelines. Again, 80% of women die single. You have to be thinking like you're the second person to die. And the only way you're going to do that is if you get off the sidelines. You can't wait for, if we're talking about the stock market to go down. It went down in COVID and now we're at record highs, right? So you can't sit and wait for something to happen. You have to take more risk.
Thank you, Reshell. Listen, this has been, I think, one of the most important conversations we've had on this podcast, because we were talking about something that so many women avoid, frankly.
Yes.
When a woman is ready, not when she's ready, when she needs to have a conversation with you, because she's not going to be ready necessarily. When she needs to have a conversation with you, how does she get in touch with you? How does she work with you?
And I feel like everyone deserves a financial plan. And it doesn't have to be comprehensive. It doesn't have to be extensive. It can be basic. But I feel like everybody deserves to have a financial plan. And so the best way to reach me is you can just email me or you can call me. So the first thing, my number is 407-258-1062. You can just send me a text and we can start from there. The other way, of course, is you can go to my website, AMES Financial Solutions. That's AMES. Remember the grandmothers, Ada, Mary, Elizabeth, Sarah, AMESFinancialSolutions.com. Look at the things that I offer. It's not under construction yet, but it will be. But just look at the things that I offer and just say, I deserve to have someone work with me on my finances and just because at the end of the day, everything that we do includes cash flow. Don't matter. Going to bed, waking up, grocery store, gas, house, bill, water, everything is cash flow. So you deserve that. And so reach out to me, send me a text, go to AMESFinancialSolutions.com, or you can email me, info@ReshellSmith.com. That's another way to reach me. I'm on all social media platforms. So if you just type in my name, you can Google me. You can even Google me and everything will pop up.
Thank you, Reshell. This is an important conversation. I hope that any woman who's listening who needs to have the talk, needs to let them go ahead, let them tears flow in her office. She's going to have the tissues at the ready. I already know. And have the conversation though, because we can't deal with what we don't address. And keeping our head in the sand, whether it's your body's physical health or your financial health, ignoring it is not going to make it better. It's not going to make it go away. We only can improve it when we actually address it and figure out what the solutions are to make it better. And you can't do that without a team. So in my opinion, a person like Reshell Smith should be on your personal board of health directors because your financial health is as important as everything else.
Yes, absolutely. You said that so eloquently, and I think you are so right. Thank you so much for having me for this very important conversation. And I wish you all the success on your podcast. You're doing great work. I love all your platforms. And so I wish you the absolute best.
Thank you. And thank you for being one of my day ones, girl. And you will have a package in the mail as a result. So don't even worry about placing the order.
My vanilla is coming.
It's coming. If you enjoyed this episode of Bloom Build Birth, I want you to go ahead and give us a follow, a like, share it with 2 women who you love and who you know need to have this conversation, especially if you know that they are broke, busted, and disgusted, girl. You know their finances are a little bit messy. So go ahead, have the conversation. Let's start pulling each other in, calling each other in, and having these talks about things that we know we can do something about, okay? So until next time.